Rosie, thank you so much for joining me on the Make It British podcast today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Well, we've been working together, haven't we, now for a few months, and you have developed a really exciting product. I mean, I'm trying to not get too overexcited about it, but it is amazing. So it's called Where's Winnie? It's a very innovative dog car seat. Do you want to tell everyone how did the idea for Where's Winnie come about? And what did you do in your previous life? Because you're not from a product background, are you?
No, I'm not at all. Yeah, very happy to chat. So Where's Winnie came about. I have a little miniature dachshund who's sat down next to me called Winnie, who's a real princess. She thinks she's a human, and she used to just sit on her bed on the back seat of the car, and the reason I started looking into dog car seats, I know it's quite a niche kind of topic. Not many people will have looked into dog car seats, but I was pregnant with my first son, Milo, and I was kind of imagining her kind of having, roaming on the back seat, trying to jump into his car seat and maybe give him a sort of cuddle on long journeys. So I was thinking I need to kind of secure her into a bed and started doing my research. And actually, at this point, I embarrassingly only found out at this point that the highway code states that dogs have to be secured in a car, and actually your insurance can be invalidated if you were in an accident caused by your dog. So that was quite a kind of interesting point that started this whole journey. um, and basically, I got searching, did the usual, looked on Google, looked on kind of Instagram, looked around, couldn't find anything. I mean, the ones that were coming up were like ugly. They were all made on the cheap abroad. They didn't look particularly safe. I was kind of, this is something that I was going to have in the car full time. So I was like, I don't want it to be ugly, and I didn't really want to waste my money. They weren't even, I mean, they were cheap, but they weren't kind of practical products that you'd actually want to use. So yeah, I kind of it started as a bit of a silly idea, like maybe I should make a car seat. Given so Winnie has her own Instagram account, which many of my friends have mocked me
Yeah,
for.
Winnie's a bit of a celebrity, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, embarrassingly, on the way to work on Tuesday, on my sort of actual day job, I was walking through the park and saw another miniature dachshund, the same colour as Winnie. And the owner, when I sort of called her, the owner went, "Oh my God, that's Winnie. I follow you on Instagram." And then proceeded to say, "Oh, how's Milo? How are the puppies?" Sort of realised that actually, quite embarrassingly, put out quite a lot about my life. And so yeah, that was quite funny. But yeah, given she had a kind of a following already, like a sort of growing following, um, it what started as a bit of a like silly idea became a bit more of a reality. And while I was on maternity leave, I thought, well, why not give it a go? I've got lots of time, and so yeah, I started working on it probably about a year ago, and then finally launched in February this year.
Yeah, I mean, you
So
say it was a silly idea, but all of the very best products start when someone finds a problem that needs a solution. And that is what your car seat does, isn't it? It's a solution for smallish dog owners who don't want to put their precious pooch in the boot. Because a lot of people are happy to put their dogs in a crate in the boot, aren't
yeah,
they? But other people want their dogs to travel in the car with them. So you found that problem, and then there was nothing that exists to solve that problem that fitted with what Winnie was truly deserving of. So you created it. It must
yeah.
have been quite daunting then. So you have what tell everyone what you did do before, or how what your main, because you're not a product developer originally, are you?
No, and I've worked across loads of different roles in my sort of career, but I currently work for a sort of a beauty tech startup in London, which I really love working for them. And I yeah went back after my maternity leave in kind of November time. So it's been a real juggle trying to do both because yeah, I've had to be quite boundaried with making sure I'm not doing my Where's Winnie work during my day job hours, because inevitably with something like this you get so excited and there's so much to do. And yeah, I've found myself kind of thinking about it at all times, whether I'm like on the train or taking Winnie for a walk. I'm kind of always having ideas. I'm actually having another baby in a
Congratulations.
few months' time, so I'm going back on maternity leave. Yeah, so I'm sure most people kind of think, oh, be quite busy, but I'm kind of thinking, oh, that's actually great. I'll have more headspace time to actually work on Where's Winnie again.
Brilliant. So having not developed a product before, what did you find most daunting? Because you obviously you didn't quite know where to start when you first had the idea. So talk everyone a little bit through the journey of how the product then got developed and what you found most difficult and what worked well.
Yeah, gosh, I mean, the whole thing was quite daunting to me because I'd never developed a product before. I mean, just when I started the process of just a Google search of how to find a manufacturer, I mean, it was yeah, that's definitely not the way to go about it. Is what I learned quite quickly. I immediately found loads of kind of manufacturers that were based abroad that kind of promised quite a lot. um I Yeah, I mean, well, everything from like the terminology and the language of, I just didn't know it. I hadn't worked in that world. In terms of actually finding manufacturers, I think the issue I found is that actually lots of British manufacturers don't even have websites, or
So
aren't
true.
even, I think, with the rise of like, well, with Brexit and with kind of shipping costs getting so much more expensive, and people actually, they're in such high demand that they don't really need to put themselves out there. And I think that was one of the things that I found out quite early on, is that they don't, even if you do catch wind that there's a manufacturer that makes dog beds in Bolton, trying to track them down and actually then get a contact and then get a response just felt impossible. And so that's when I kind of stumbled across your website, actually, the Make It British website, because I was sort of specifically looking for British manufacturers, and I think one of my Google searches must have found you. So obviously some good SEO
Yeah.
work on your side. But I think I came across that and got reading, and then got listening to the podcast. It feels a little bit surreal, actually, to be on it
Yeah.
now, having listened to you for a year or so. So yeah, I think it was just quite inspiring to find someone that was kind of championing the British manufacturing. Um, but yeah.
Brilliant. And then we've been working together ever since. And I introduced you to the manufacturers that now make your car seat. How have you found working with those manufacturers? Go on, tell it warts and all. What's been good? What's not been so good? Because let's not pretend for bed of
um,
roses. There's always challenges when working in manufacturing.
Yeah, no, I've found it to be a really great experience. I think, yeah, I mean, working with British manufacturers has been brilliant, because actually being able to go down and see them being made was just, yeah, was like super important to me. And I think just from a like, sustainability like side of things, I manufacturing in my manufacturer is actually only 12 miles away from my house, so it means I can physically go and pick up the car seats when they're ready. And I've built up like a really nice relationship with the team. So every time I go in, they always want to ask how's Winnie, and kind of know things about my life, whereas it's not just a kind of commercial relationship. So yeah, it's been great. My manufacturer is brilliant. I think it helps that I'm fairly organized, because I know they are dealing with loads of clients, and they have stuff coming in and out the whole time. So I've definitely found that's a kind of key thing, to make sure I send in everything fully labeled, so there's no question of what bits are, or the car seat actually does have quite a few components. So yeah, it's been great. And funnily enough, with that manufacturer, I mean, I don't think I would have ever come across them. They do actually have a website, I think, but I doubt I would have come across them, and I doubt I would have known that they made dog beds, because I don't think it's what they're necessarily known for. So yeah, I think that was a real realization of joining your coaching, was that, you know, personal introductions go such a long
Mm.
way. And having that kind of intro from you was just, you know, I'd been trying for months, and then had that email, and then it really got the ball rolling. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been
Oh,
really
and I think you've
great.
hit the nail on the head there about being organized. And that's where I see things going wrong with people trying to work with manufacturers and not having all their ducks in a row first. Like you say, yours is quite a complex product because you've got part of it made in
Mm.
one factory up north, haven't you? And the other part in the factory near your house. And you've got all the different components to come in. So you do need to be super organized. And yeah, that's you know, all credit to you. That's why it has worked so well. So you've launched a product about what, 5 weeks ago since recording this podcast, and you've had your first order. How's it
Yeah,
gone?
yeah. Yeah, it's gone really well, surprisingly well, actually. Yeah, it was one of those things that I'd been working on it for so long that sort of I'd set my launch date as the 1st of February, and you'd been quite strict with me to say make sure you stick to that date, which I was very grateful for, because I'm sure it could have slipped. So I think, yeah, I had a very sort of mad January pulling everything together. And I think it only really dawned on me those last few days when I was like, oh God, this is actually quite daunting, like putting this out to the real world, having worked on it for months and months on my own. Um, and yeah, it was exciting, but I was really nervous when I, you know, made the website live, and then I sent out or I'd done a bit of sort of teasing through Winnie's Instagram the week before, and I'd managed to get a good sort of 150 people had signed up to an email marketing list. And so I was, the sort of big thing that I was going to do was send out that email at kind of 9 a.m. on my launch day. And I was so nervous waiting to press the button to actually send it, because I was like, oh, no one's going to buy one. And then it's all going to be egg on my face, having, you know, worked on this for so long. And it was so exciting. Sent it off, and actually had 3 sales within the first kind of 15-20 minutes of it going out, which was really exciting. One of which was from a very good friend of mine, so I was grateful to him to buying one. But the other 2 were complete strangers, so that was quite amazing that people had actually seen it, seen the pictures, and thought, yeah, I want to buy that. I started with a fairly small order of 50, because I didn't want to didn't want to have too much stock, and I wanted to kind of test it. Also really important to get kind of feedback from customers once they bought it, you know, in case I designed something that I thought was quite essential or that it worked, and then actually if you get customer feedback that says this feature or this bit just, you know, doesn't work for us, then I'd have the opportunity to kind of tweak it before ordering much more. I think that's another thing about manufacturing in the UK, you know, having that ability to make a small order. And so, you know, I started with 2 colors, and being able to split that, you know, my order of 50 between 2 colors is just something you'd never be able to do
Yeah,
abroad.
and you wouldn't be able to go back
um
for it so quickly
and
either.
so No, exactly. I mean, you know, my manufacturer has quite short lead times, which is amazing. So I've got this order. I actually went out of stock of the green color, which, yeah,
Yay!
feels crazy. I mean, I can't believe enough people have bought them that it's gone out of stock. And then I had someone messaging on Instagram yesterday saying, "No, I've just gone to buy 2 green car seats and you're out of stock." And it was great to be able to reply straight away and say, "Don't worry, they're back in
Yeah.
stock. Collecting them on Friday. They're back in stock this
You'd have been
weekend."
waiting
So
3 months for those if you'd have got them from China, wouldn't you? For, like, to be able to say the green's out of stock.
well, yeah,
It's amazing.
yeah. So one, you mentioned that I get the safety leash is manufactured in a different factory up north, because they specifically work with webbing and this shock absorbing, like elasticated webbing, that I really wanted to include, because if you are in an accident and you've just got a plain bit of webbing and your dog gets pulled, you know, you don't want to damage their neck. And so I particularly wanted this shock absorbing webbing, which was quite hard to track down, but found this manufacturer. But whilst I was doing my search, I did actually test the water with a manufacturer in China who assured me they could make it. And actually, credit to them, they did make it, but it arrived 4 months after I'd ordered it and cost me an eye-watering amount. Versus the amazing team up north who have made it for me from scratch. They don't actually make this product themselves. Again, they sort of took the tech pack and I worked with them and they've made it. And yeah, they're delivering my second order next week. So it's been that was amazing to be able to go with them and again have much shorter lead times, and not have to worry about it coming from abroad,
Yeah.
both in terms of timing, but also my like carbon footprint and shipping stuff that could be made here and could support our local communities.
Yeah, amazing. So the greens sold out because I remember we had this little kind of vote, didn't we? What's going to sell best? Well, with the other people are kind of in the group. Sell best, the blue
Yeah.
or the green? I think I said
Well,
blue. I
it's
bought a blue one, so I also was one of your first customers, which I love. You sold out of green, so
yes,
they
thank you very
sold. Did
much.
you bought more
Yeah,
blue?
it's interesting. Well, with the green, I did quite a lot of like customer research, obviously, before I launched, and I was very lucky to have sort of an engaged pool of people through Winnie's Instagram who were interested. And I, um, during this whole kind of last year when I've been working on it, I set up a close friends group on Instagram. So they helped with the branding and the logo and the color schemes, and one of the things they helped with was actually picking which colours I would manufacture first. And interestingly, the reason I ordered slightly more blue in my first order than green was because blue came out as more popular in this in the pre-production kind of stage when they were just looking at swatches. But then once I'd had them made and I had the two here and posted another photo, the green came back as much more popular. So it's interesting that,
Yeah.
you know, seeing it on a small square didn't translate into the actual product. So yeah, although still like invaluable
I think
feedback.
also because Winnie's got that lovely kind of pale blonde fur, hasn't she? And she looks great on the dark green.
Yeah,
But you're also gonna do some
she looks great in anything, Kate.
kind you're also gonna do some exclusive limited edition colours as well, aren't you?
I
Have I
am,
not
yeah,
said
very
that? Is that a
excitingly.
secret at the moment? Have I just blown
No,
your
it's
cover?
absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. I haven't announced it yet, but I am. I've got a limited run of baby pink car seats coming, which I personally thought would never be a first choice for people, given, often when you're out in the car, your dog
Muddy.
might be muddy after a walk. And people, quite like keeping their belongings nice and clean. So maybe a darker colour won't show up the dirt as much. But interestingly, in my kind of research since launching, I've been kind of asking people what colours would they be looking for. And this kind of pale pink that I had a swatch of has been, yeah, really, really popular. And I think people do quite like to genderfy. I'm not sure that's a word, but people like buying their female dogs lots of pink products. I've noticed, and I'm guilty of that. Winnie is lying next to me in a pink bed. So I'm launching a limited edition of pink, which is timing quite nicely for this warm, sunny weather. And so they are going into production, I think, next week. And so they should be a couple of weeks down the line, which is really exciting.
Exciting. So where can everyone find you? Where can they find Where's Winnie? How can they get hold of a car seat? How can they get on the waiting list for one of those pink ones? And when the green ones come back in,
Yeah, so the website is where'swinnie.co.uk, or on Instagram it's where's Winnie UK. Or if you're not in the market for a dog product but you just want to see cute pictures, then it's Winnie the Slinker on Instagram. So she tends to kind of keep us all updated with her daily adventures. So
oh, brilliant. Oh, Rosie, you've been such a fantastic guest. You've been great to work with because, yeah, it's such a brilliant product. And you and
oh,
Winnie
thank you. So have
have been
you.
great to work with. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. Bye bye.
Thanks so much for having me, Kate. Bye.
Bye.